National Geographic.
Όχι, τα βλέπω στο YouTube.
Okay, let's go right into critique.
National Geographic.
I mean, if you have any questions that might help me in the future.
Yeah, I can combine it both.
Okay.
Easier.
Yeah, I saw it.
Okay, safe altitude,
No.
recovery 3500 AGL, very good.
Yes, sir.
Mention that because you can't just go out there to 2,000 feet and do spin.
No.
That's against the regulation.
That's true.
I mean, you can, but you're not, you're violating the FAA.
Depends on what type of flight it is. If it's an aerobatic flight, you could.
Well, if it's an air show, you can do anything.
Yeah.
But,
But not
for training.
For training purposes.
You know what else is not mentioned here? Traffic. Make sure before you enter.
Oh, yeah, clear the area.
Yeah, clear- I said
And
clear
you're not
turns,
supposed to do spin training over, or any aerobatic maneuver over, like a city,
Yeah.
inside Class Bravo, all those places. So it's also. You mentioned reduced throttle, but you didn't say how much until you mentioned it a few times. So when you say reduce the throttle, emphasize how much it is.
1500 RPM.
Yeah, because you'll see when you start teaching, you tell your student, reduce the throttle. You go, how much?
Yeah.
You can say all the way to idle. Be specific, because some of these students, they listen to every word you say and they do exactly reduce the throttle. They yank it all the way back to idle. They reduce it from 2,300 to 2,000 RPM. Did they reduce the throttle? Yes, they did, but you didn't say. So you can say reduce the throttle to 1,500. Now that's specific because they look at the RPM and they know exactly how much to do.
Okay. I said also just like I know you're right. I should have mentioned.
It's not just spin. It's everything. It's stalls. It's slow flight.
But
you tell your student reduce the throttle. But how much should I reduce?
You know what? You remember what I said though? Reduce the throttle just like we do in a power off stall too much.
Okay.
As soon as I said 1,500, but I said just like a power.
I think we're gonna have to listen to the tape. But just be specific. When you demonstrate it, just be very, very specific, because they listen and they do exactly what they say.
Okay.
And remember, you're the instructor, you're the mentor, you're God for them. Whatever you say, they do. They just don't know nothing. So they trust you. They give their life, to you. So, did you mention the stages of spin?
No.
Entry, incipient, and fully developed?
No.
Okay. You may want to.
What is the stages? It's the entry?
Entry.
The incipient, actually.
Entry is this part.
Incipient. Developed.
And the fully developed spin.
Developed, and then is the recovery.
Oh, yeah, I guess recovery. Yeah. I did mention recovery, but the fully developed spin is different than an incipient spin.
Incipient is
the initial rotation.
Okay, the initial, okay.
Incipient is the entry until you have rotation around the 3 axes.
Exactly.
When you start having a rotation around 3 axes, is developed, is well developed.
Fully developed. Yeah.
Okay.
Preparation. You had to read the lesson plan a couple of times, 3 times. You kind of lost your.
The completion starters and the common errors I have to read.
Okay. Try that, because it was like, it's okay. That's why you have a lesson plan. Because if you don't have a lesson plan, and that thing is closed and you don't have anything to go by, and then you work from your head, first of all, you can forget stuff that's on the lesson plan, and you don't have any reference.
Well, after I spoke for the procedure, I went over you did not notice because.
Yeah, it was pretty smooth. It was good.
Yeah,
I can tell you the first presentation and this one is completely different. As far as your confidence, but I'm still trying to brush it up, and because you had like 10 days off, just kind of keep doing it. Talk about the human factor that's going to be
anxiety and
there's always fear, there's always anxiety, upset stomach. Make sure when you come for the spin lesson, don't have a big meal and Indian food and spicy sauce, because it can be a problem.
Upset stomach, diarrhea.
The whole thing can be I've had those before where it just
I remember.
it's not good.
Tell me.
It's not
What
good.
happened? What
I
happened?
mean, they barf or, fart like crazy. It smells like shit in the cockpit. Sometimes, I mean, like bad stomach makes.
I remember you told Billy at any point. But with this speech with Donnie, was like, Billy, at any point, just go like this. After
So,
that,
Tell the student, hey, listen, we're gonna go out there, we're gonna try and have fun, but if it gets to the point where it's no more fun,
you let me know.
let me know, because some of them will just kind of hide it. It's like, I'll hold it in their face and like,
Oh, fuck.
so empty, have a nice sandwich, 3-4 hour break, and then go out there and have, or just don't have breakfast.
That's what I know.
The best is just to go right in the morning. The best, right in the morning, a little bit of coffee, nothing very light, and just go hit it.
Yeah.
That's the best. But with time, you get confidence. I don't know if you're interested in doing spin training. Majority of the flight instructors don't do it. They have no desire to do it. Leave me alone. Let me do the standard stuff, So.
But it's not the standard stuff?
Only if you want to become a CFI.
No, not
Only if you
very
want to become a
few.
CFI.
Very few flight instructors are interested in doing spin training. Very few. Not too many.
Really?
Yeah. You look around the airport. You're not gonna. Like 1 out of 10, 1 out of 6. Most of them don't. Okay, so talked about the stomach. Now, did you mention that one wing is stalled more than the other, but both of them are stalled?
No.
That's why you have the rotation, because one wing is more stalled than the other.
It's like
But they're both
he
stalled.
didn't say both are stalled.
I said
You
auto
have to say both are stalled.
because I said auto rotation returns from an equal level of attacks.
Okay.
That's what I said. That, but it's still not specific.
We're gonna listen after that, and you can review that.
That was on the
mention-
what? On the what? Because I kind of read it.
Yeah, but if you have this for you may have this for the inspector, the spin
Yeah.
presentation. So make sure take the notes on the critique. And did you mention the pilot's operating handbook always refer to the POH?
No, I didn't.
That's the book for the aircraft. The book will tell you exactly what is.
I didn't specify. I said about the weight. Actually, I read it.
It will specify the
relations
recommended
of various parts, such as configuration,
configuration.
weight, center of gravity, control coordination to spin.
Pilot's operating handbook you mentioned? Okay.
I mentioned
Because the POH.
various factors.
Okay, so the POH will tell you the proper entry, how to do it, how to recover, everything. POH, always refer to the POH. The POH will actually mention spins, intentional spins are not approved. So you cannot do it. I mean, you can, but you're becoming a test pilot. Normal and utility category. I don't know if you have any interest in, spinning on a 172. You have to make sure you're in the utility category. But, this lesson was focused on one particular aircraft. So that's
Why
fine.
152 is always utility?
No, also normal. But I think the 172, you got to be utility. You got to have less weight,
Yeah.
Less
half
fuel,
a tanks, center of gravity pretty much forward on the 172 to spin. You can spin a 172.
Yeah, well, I think
Spin a
Lust
172.
itself is always utility, right? Luscombe is always utility, or it's normal?
It's
That's not what?
a standard, but in some certification it's even aerobatic.
151.
My question,
It's approved for
the last one, where is if you went, it's going to be by the
It's not what I
performance
usually
or
do.
the
It's
spin
like
or was
two
maneuvers?
months.
on the pilot's operating handbook.
Which already has
Some
no
the
badge.
maneuvers. Yeah.
Just in case you
There's a little
It's
supplement.
always
In the
utility.
maneuvers would.
It's
Okay.
only
Little
utility.
supplement.
I know for a fact that the Cessna 400 is utility. There's no normal category in the Cessna 400. Everything is utility.
It's a standard. It's certified.
Yeah, it's
Standard.
certified to utility category. That's what it's certified to.
Okay. Federal aviation regulations. Did you mention any of that?
FARs? Like,
Like, you can only do spin if it's for training purposes. If you're out there doing spin for fun, just for yourself, You have to have parachutes. You have because you're
Above 30 degrees, right?
yeah.
So,
Because, I mean,
parachute.
what kind of nose pitch attitude you
30
have?
degrees, you have parachute.
No, when you're spinning, what pitch attitude nose low you have?
20, 25?
40, 45.
Almost 45 degrees, nose down.
Oh.
And as you're recovering, it's even, you know, when you break the stall, it may be
It's
even
60.
further, a little bit steeper than that. So you're exceeding the 30-degree pitch up or down, you need to have parachutes. So mention the FAR, just in case you want to go out there and do spins by
What is
your
this flight called when your pitch attitude is more than
Aerobatic.
aerobatic, more than 30
But you need
degrees?
to
more
have-
than 30 degrees up and down, more than
You need a parachute, though,
60
right?
degrees. Yeah.
When you are
So how
alone,
come we
but
don't-
when you have an instructor,
Other than certification, if you're doing spin training for, you know, certification,
Yeah.
are you getting certified as a flight instructor, single engine land airplane? So we don't need parachutes.
So we don't need, okay.
So mention that, it's in the FAR.
Okay.
when you are an instructor, you don't need to have a parachute, right?
When you're going for
When you're for-
certification, for training.
You're going or when you are an instructor, you're already.
No, if I want to go out there and do spins by myself, I'm supposed to have parachute.
Why?
Because it's in the
everybody
regs. It's in the regs.
is in right.
But if you're doing it for training with another student, that's fine. You know. So mention that. It's in,
What's the
difference?
You read it. It's
You
in,
do it
there's
anyway.
no difference, but the FAR is just the way the regulation.
I mean, with a student, you don't have to have a parachute.
Yeah.
Alone, you have to have a
Yeah,
parachute.
it's in the regs. Yeah, you read it. It's in the
Remember, a
regs.
student may be able to recover if you get disoriented.
One more thing you need to mention is it's not required for you as a private commercial.
Okay, it's just, all right.
We're doing spin training today
Okay.
because you wanted it or because I recommend it, blah, blah, blah. but
Makes
you're
you a better
not-
pilot.
Makes
Yeah.
you a better pilot. It's
Better
going to get
reduction.
rid of a
So
lot
it's
of
not,
the
a,
fear.
it's not a part of the check ride.
No, not for
No,
private
no.
commercial.
But if you want to do it with the examiner,
It's up to the examiner.
He will have to do it because flight instructor airplane, okay, single engine and glider, you need to do spin training. You need to demonstrate spin training to the inspector or to another instructor and have a certification, endorsement.
Like,
Glider, you got to do spin training in the glider.
that's
So,
tricky.
If you want to become an instructor in a
Yeah.
glider, you got to demonstrate spins in a
Yeah,
glider.
but that's a
So
little bit tricky because you have no engine.
it doesn't matter.
but on the
You still
commercial
gotta
check
do it.
ride,
You don't need to do spins.
you don't need to. But if the examiner asks you,
Then he cannot ask you.
You
He cannot ask
need to show knowledge of what's the PTS saying, stall and spin recovery, but you don't have to demonstrate it on your check ride. They used to do it back in the day.
But then
not
they got a
anymore.
couple of accidents, I think.
As a matter of fact, when I was doing my parapet check ride, the examiner asked me how to recover from a spin.
He can ask you because as a
He
pilot,
asked
you
me,
need to know. You need to
eh,
know. You need to be aware of it.
Okay,
How do
okay.
you recover from a
But he
spin?
doesn't ask you to demonstrate.
No,
No.
no.
No, you
So
don't.
you need to be aware of it. So you know
Yeah.
you need. I mean,
Just in case it happens. Huh?
yeah, because it can be unintentional.
Unintentional. Which is back to square one. Where is the most common place that you can enter a spin?
Approach landing,
Approach the landing, a little more specific?
base to final.
Base to final. Did you mention that?
As when David asked me.
Oh, that's what the question, not in the
Yeah.
presentation.
Because of the airspeed, right?
No, what the common.
You in bank.
Because
in-
it's suppose you're decreasing the airspeed to the minimum, almost.
Not necessarily. There's a very high tendency. This is the runway. You're landing this way, okay? The wind's coming this way, okay? Or, more like this way, okay? So that's a right crosswind on landing. You're coming in on the base. The wind's coming this way.
So
You
have to-
didn't steepen up the bank enough,
Mhm.
so you overshot.
Mm.
At the same time you overshot, you're trying to straighten up with opposite rudder. At the same time, you pitch up too much. What's the scenario here? You're lining up center line with rudder instead of coming back coordinated, rolling back and crabbing and going like this. You're going like this and then opposite rudder. That's when you're more likely to have on the base to final. That's the most common place to enter an unintentional spin. And then, you know, a lot of these guys.
Yeah, but you apply right rudder or left?
No, you're applying right aileron to get back and opposite left rudder because you want to line yourself up.
I'm not going to be in spin.
Yes, you will. Look,
How?
you just overshot. You just overshot. You just overshot
okay.
final.
Okay.
You're coming back this way.
Okay.
Now you want to straighten it up. Instead of going like this and like that, you're straightening up the rudder with left rudder. Now you're kind of lined up.
Yeah.
But you pitch up.
Okay.
See what's
Let's
happening?
stop.
Your right bank,
Yeah.
opposite rudder.
And the left.
Pitch up too much. Bam.
And why you pick?
Ah,
You
okay.
get it because
To
you
the
have
left
the.
side.
Of
You
course.
spin to the left, not to the right.
Of
Oh,
course.
yeah.
Of course.
Because you have left rudder and you
Yeah.
have right there.
Added opposite left rudder to the right aileron instead of staying coordinated and then crabbing. At the same time, you didn't pay attention to the airspeed and you pitch up too much.
Yeah, but so the key
And
is
forgot
the
to add
airspeed
power.
and the pitch attitude. If you have the pitch a little bit down,
That's fine. You can be in a side slip, yeah, but that's the problem. The scenario
it's
is
all
it's all coming at
mistakes,
the same
3-4
time. You
mistakes.
overshoot final. You bang
Yeah,
back
yeah,
to
yeah,
the
yeah.
right. You opposite rudder to line up, and you don't pay attention to the airspeed.
It's 4 or 5 mistakes together.
It all adds up because there's a lot of workload.
Yeah.
And that's I see this with private, with commercial students sometimes. When they're coming in, they're not paying attention and they overshoot and then they try to. That would be a best scenario. If you're like this, just go around. Just get off. Get off, come back again. No, hey, I got some wind coming in here. I'm going to keep it wide. I'm going to turn in.
Remember when we
Give
went to
myself
Bayport?
plenty of time to crab in and come in like this.
Jordan, remember when we were going to Bayport?
It happens at least a couple of times.
Remember when I was going to Bayport, I overshot it?
Yep. Happens. Bayport happens
Yeah.
all the time over there because it's so tight when the wind is generally coming from the west. And
Remember
that's a south-north wind.
when I overshot, I was like, what the? I went too far. I was
Yeah.
like,
Mention base the final.
Yes.
Very, very, and the inspector is gonna love that. He's gonna see, oh, this guy knows his stuff. That's the most popular, stall spin scenario right there. One thing I did not hear is how do you recognize a left spin from a right spin?
how do you recognize a
How
left?
do you know? You're looking, and everything is like,
Turn coordinator.
everything,
or turn
sometimes
and
it goes fast.
You have
Which
to
way?
know
Our
soccer.
coordinator.
slip. Turn coordinator, turn and slip.
You have to know soccer.
And the
You have
ball.
to know
Where's
what?
the ball?
Where's the ball?
Yeah.
What's that ball? What's that ball? Can you look at the ball?
No, the ball is going opposite.
Turn coordinator.
Third coordinator. What does the third coordinator gonna show?
It's going to show
Direction
you.
to
All right.
spin.
Direction to the
What,
spin.
what is the third coordinator
Direction to
doing?
the spin.
What's the purpose of the turn coordinator? What does it show?
So
Turn.
it's the rate of
Turn.
roll
Rate of
and
roll.
of
Rate
turn.
of
And
turn.
rate of turn. Very good. So the turn coordinator will show you the rate of roll to the
Yeah.
Yeah, but
direction.
the
you're-
ball is always outside.
No.
Yes,
It
ball
depends
skipping.
on the position of the instrument.
No?
Yeah. Depends on the position of the instrument.
Mhm.
If the instrument's on the left, it's gonna go outside. If the instrument's on the right, depends on the position of the instrument. The ball is, never look at the ball and spin.
No, look at the wing of the airplane.
Look at the turn and slip and look
The
at the
airplane.
turn coordinator.
Yep.
This is the instrument because turn and slip will show you the rate of turn. When you're spinning, you're turning, correct? We mentioned
Yeah.
that before.
The
So if
turn
you're
and slip
spinning to the
indicator,
turn and
okay,
slip.
The turn and slip.
Turn and slip. If it's to the right, you're spinning right. If it's to the left, you're spinning left.
The
Period.
turn and slip indicator shows the rate of
Rate of
turn.
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 Of course.
Not the rate of roll.
Not roll.
No,
Turn
rate of
coordinator.
roll is turn
roll
coordinator.
and turn is turn coordinator. Okay.
So turn coordinator, turn and
Turn
slip
slip.
will show
Direction of
you
the spin.
the direction. Just in case you're lost and you're disoriented and you push on the right pedal and nothing's happening, you don't know what to do. Look at the turn and slip or turn coordinator and add the opposite rudder.
You know what? The one thing I mentioned, I did not mention. If you're in a stall and you're not recovering, you tried everything, just let go of the controls, and the plane will should
You
recover.
can mention that.
Yeah.
Some airplanes will just let go. It will just fix it.
Yeah.
Okay, so remember that. Inverted.
Is this official?
Inverted 45 grill, we talked about.
Is
45.
this officially approved that you can leave the plane because it is tested this way?
Uh-huh.
It's approved.
Yeah. Absolutely. Let go of the controls.
So you can say
We'll demonstrate it. I'll show you. You let go of the controls, it's just gonna recover. Yeah. Let go of the controls.
let go means what? Neutralize or
Let go.
Don't touch.
Let go. Stop the rudder and stop the aileron and the back stick elevator. Just let go. Neutralize everything. You'll see the airplane just go right into the dive.
And
All you have to do-
let your
relax.
Everything.
Relax your rudder. That's it. Nothing.
Just don't touch the airplane.
nothing.
Nothing.
Don't touch the airplane.
Throttle to idle and let go. It will recover by itself. Yep.
If you have throttle in,
We mentioned the inclinometer, right? Okay, so it's not reliable in a spin. You cannot tell the direction from the inclinometer.
the kilometer's the ball.
The bowl, it depends on where the instrument is located on the panel.
Yeah.
Okay? Don't look at it because it's not reliable.
Yeah.
How to recognize?
We said it with
We mentioned that.
yeah, we just mentioned it, right? With if it's a
Yeah. Turn and
Yeah,
slip, turn
turn and
forward.
slip,
Yeah.
yeah.
Okay, we mentioned that. And mention the CG, that's consideration.
Um,
One more thing I have is entering a spin in IFR.
and then in a spin knife fire.
It's very
IMC.
likely in IMC, it's very likely
It's easy to
that
enter.
your
Kennedy.
instrument, not just Kennedy, there was another single engine TBM.
Oh yeah, in Jersey.
I suspect he
Yeah.
spun it in IFR.
Kennedy entered the spin?
No, it was taken from
I don't know if
Teterboro.
it was a spiral or
The
whatever.
spiral. It was living from Teterboro going somewhere.
But the TBM had icing condition and they required to, he requested a climb up to higher altitude. And then he was IFR, and I think what happened, I'm very I'm very familiar with the autopilot there. You have vertical speed mode. You lock it on vertical speed mode on the autopilot, it's gonna tend to maintain whatever the vertical
Yeah, they
speed
lose
is.
the air because there's no auto throttle on it.
Doesn't matter, you're
Yeah,
climbing
yeah,
your
yeah.
full power
Right.
anyway.
Yeah, that's true.
So he wanted to climb over the icing level instead of staying below. With all the pilot report says, hey, stay below because there's a lot of icing at 17,000. He realized, I'll just get up.
Yep.
So and it was heavy loaded aircraft. He vertical speed mode on the autopilot, 3,000 feet per minute, to try and get up there quick above the icing.
So he stalled.
But when you're on vertical speed mode, the autopilot and the flight director
Ignores the airspeed.
Yeah.
don't care about the speed. It's gonna pitch up and the servo is gonna keep increasing back pressure in elevator until you hold 3,000 to the point where there's no more airspeed to bleed off. At that point,
Stalled.
you're stalled. Autopilot kicks off, full power, P factor, single engine. Where's it gonna spin?
Spin to the.
Right.
P
Left,
factor.
left.
Yeah,
You're
go to the
icing.
left. Spin to the left.
Now you're in icing condition.
So
And
you
you're
have-
spinning to the left with full power.
Oh, because it's rotating to the right.
P factor.
So
The descending blade, remember, has a bigger bite.
it's not
So-
it's a left turning tendency.
Yeah, left handing tendencies,
P factor.
P factor, torque,
Same-
it's all
same-
together,
same-
the
same- same-
slipstream,
same.
everything, the whole thing.
The P factor
Now what's
comes
happening?
from,
He's
the
spinning
tail,
to the left with full
from
power.
horizontal altitude.
Yeah, when the prop wash hits it.
P factor is the tail wheel. The tail wheel.
No.
P-factor is
P
the
factor is
normal.
every aircraft.
No,
P
P
factor
factor,
is
every
the-
single engine aircraft.
Yeah.
P
Yes,
factor,
yes,
the
it
left handing
happens
tendency.
more to the tail wheels.
No, every.
It's more stronger the tail, but
Yeah, it's more pronounced because of the center of
P-factor-
gravity, but it's still in any
P-factor is,
single engine.
This is the airplane, right? And the propeller, well, this is the airplane here. The descending blade, that's from the side. The descending blade is producing more thrust or pushing more air
On the
on
right side
on
of
the
the
right side.
You need to increase.
Making
you need
the
to
air-
increase the pitch attitude on this airplane
Yeah,
because
you're
it's not really climbing.
Let's put it this way.
Excellent.
So,
Very good. Now
full
you're
throttle,
talking.
high angle of attack,
Now you're talking.
boom, pushes it.
Torque effect.
Torque effect.
Everything. Torque effect, P factor, and slipstream. Everything tends to the left turning tendencies. Everything tends to turn left.
P factor. Accelerated slipstream, which for multi-airplane.
That's right, slipstream.
So
And
we have
torque effect.
slipstream and torque effect.
Left turning tendencies.
Torque. Left turn tendency. P factor. The torque is best way to explain it like the something
Torque
trying to hold
is
the
the engine.
Torque.
torque.
It's torque. It's the engine. It's how much
When you hold an engine under a drill, you push it.
it twists.
It goes to the opposite direction to what, like you're drilling something and gets
Yeah.
stuck. That's torque.
That's torque.
Yeah, what's the-
And the slipstream is
Telescopic effect.
and the slipstream.
So what happened with that scenario? He had full power, spinning to the left. He didn't know which way he was going, but he definitely noticed the altitude going down. And with full power, back pressure, and you're in the spin, nothing's gonna help you.
Yeah.
If you don't look at your turn and slip and identify which
Why was
direction,
there back pressure?
it doesn't help the back pressure because you're in a spin. The back pressure will aggravate it and keep it stalled further.
So you have to break the stall.
Oh, he kept the back pressure?
Of course, because he saw the altimeter. The first thing you have when you're IFR and you see the altimeter rolling down, what is your first thing? I'm going down, back pressure.
Yep.
Let's get that airplane
That's the
back up.
feeling. The feeling of the.
Because you already got full power and you go in back pressure, but nothing helps.
But actually it's inverted. When you are in spin, you are not flying normally. So
Correct.
aerodynamically is everything
Opposite. So he had full power. The first thing he had to do, he's in the spin, is throttle back to idle. Because with full power, you're going into the ground faster. You're aggravating the descent rate. So throttle back. That's number one. Number two, look at
the
your
opposite. Full power. And back.
He was doomed. He was doomed. And he's in IFR. He has no clue.
What's happening?
Absolutely no clue which way is up, which way is down. He's completely disoriented.
Who was the guy? You have,
The pilot.
Pilot. I don't remember his name.
you have to look at the
Like,
instrument
killed
panel.
himself.
Photos
At that point,
It's
your
one that
IFR,
button
look at
and
your
it's off.
instrument panel, look at your
Exactly.
turn and slip, turn coordinator, see, okay, I'm spinning to the
And
left,
it's off.
throttle back, opposite right rudder, neutralize the ailerons.
Yep.
Okay, wait. And then you're gonna see the turn and slip recovering from that turn.
Yep.
And center. Now is the time to
Yeah,
break
right.
the stall, forward pressure on the control wheel, yoke, whatever you have to say, and break the stall, and then the aircraft's gonna go right into a dive, come out of the dive, and add power,
You know when
and
I.
keep the blue up and the brown down. That's it. You're done. Now you can do whatever you want. But what happened, he kept on spinning in IFR until the point where he was VFR with full power in a spin, and then he's looking straight down at the ground coming at him. Then he really yanked it back to the point where he
Bent the wings.
exceeded the
Lower cockpit.
limitations of the airframe. So the wings broke off.
Broke off.
That's it. They found the wing 2-3 miles off. One of the wings was like
Oh my God, this is the worst.
2-3 miles off
The worst case
of
scenario.
the airplane.
No, and that's from 17,000 feet.
Yep.
That was what?
From 17,000.
He was high. He was way up there. He was way up there.
When the wings
That's why it's
broke?
useful
No, when it's
to do the
entered
training.
spin. From 17,000 feet.
17,000,
Listen, you listen to pirate reports. Remember what happened on the trip to Florida? There was a level 5 thunderstorm up to like 60,000 feet, way up there.
Yeah.
And we asked the controller, he said, where everybody else is going. It seems like everybody's going to the east. Go to the east. Everybody's going east. Why would you want to go
West.
somewhere else?
Exactly.
You know? And same thing with the icing report. They had the icing report.
Go away.
Get away from it. They're telling you at 17,000 you have icing. Stay low. Wait for the weather to clear. Half an hour flight, 1 hour flight, then you can climb up.
Stop or no? You got-
Oh, no. It's the...
It's King Solomon time.
Any more question issues? Okay.
This
Presentation, critique, everything's
was
done.
the diner. Food.